biopsies in general, is there any truth to the idea that if you take a biopsy, a piece of it, you're spreading cancer because you're opening it up and the cells are being spread now? Is there any truth to that at all, or is that just something that's made up?
It's usually not. It's not. It's usually made. It's not. It's not a major factor.
So so the body's going to naturally encapsulate these bad cells, and when they come in with the biopsy and take a piece of it or cut it open or something, it's not spreading the bad cells?
Because usually the most of the biopsies are excisional biopsies, right? So they're removing the whole mass, and you're better off if you have an abnormal mass, you're better to get the whole mass out with clean margins is the best thing to
Well,
do.
through a surgery, they're taking it out, the whole mass, right? But through a biopsy, through a
Through a
test,
needle, you're saying through a needle biopsy, right? Yeah.
so they're not spreading it.
No.
Okay. Is a needle biopsy the same as like if you get a colonoscope and they go in and they take, aren't they scraping it, or that's not a needle, is it?
No, with a colonoscopy, they're usually clipping and taking out the well, they're taking out with a tweezer, like they're pulling away the polyp and studying the whole polyp.
So they're taking out the whole polyp, not just.
Right, they're removing the polyp in a colonoscopy. That's their
Okay.
goal. Yeah.
And the other thing is blood test. Can blood testing uh be a non-invasive way to find out like if a person is a higher risk or for anything, for cancer or diabetes or something, by just looking at the blood work instead of doing all these other techniques?
Absolutely, but no test is 100% perfect. You always have false positives and false negatives. Keep in mind that that's why we use multiple tests to see if they corroborate each other. You know.
Okay. Okay.
Now the newest test available in breast screening is called QT imaging. Now we have purchased a QT imaging machine equipment. And the reason for that is there's no radiation. It's about 200,000 times more data points than a mammogram. There's no compression of the breast. It circumferentially uses acoustic ultrasound around the breast and reconstructs a three-dimensional image of the breast where it's not compressed. But it enables the radiologist reading the image to give you a much better view of the breast, and it's so accurate in the AI calculation of any abnormal mass. So the software can actually measure the precise volumetric size of that mass to see whether, if you repeated the test 2 months later, for example, you could see if that mass is growing at the doubling time of the cancer. Because cancers, usually double their size every 120 to 180 days. If the doubling time is more than 300 days, then it's not it's not a cancer. Let's say it's not. Maybe it's shrinking, right? Maybe this mass is shrinking. Maybe it's staying the same. Then it's not cancer.
Does it really grow that fast?
Yes.
Oh, interesting, because I always thought like people that have like get diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, I always thought they were told this didn't happen recently. This was in your body a long time ago and it's growing slowly over time, but you're saying it grows pretty quickly?
No. It grows. No, it goes from, let's say the doubling time is 120 days or 150 days. 1 cell to 2 cells is 150 days. That's like 4 months, right? 2 cells to 4 cells is another 4 months. 4 cells to 8 cells, it might take 10 years for, even at a doubling time of 150 days, it would take 10 years for those cells to double sufficiently to be seen by the human eye, right? But once you have, many millions of cells, then it goes from 1 million to 2 million and 2 million to 4 million in the doubling time. So when you have a mass that's already coalesced to be seen by the human eye, the size of a pencil eraser, that could have taken 15 years to get to that
Wow,
size.
and you're saying the technology you have, you can tell the difference just between the 150 days if it's growing?
Well, you can just do 2 months. You
2
can just
months.
60
Wow.
days because the new technology is so accurate. It's so much more accurate than an MRI, an ultrasound, or a mammogram, that it gives you such a correct sizing of any abnormality in the breast that you could repeat the test in 2 months, 3 months, and see if if whatever is in the breast is growing, to better ascertain whether this is something to be concerned about or not, thereby preventing a person need to go to a biopsy, which we know is going to then overdiagnose cancer 30% of the time.
Can
We
it
find
also diagnose?
these are hard for people to grasp this
Can it
concept.
also diagnose if, like, you're doing some types of treatments for it? If it's reversing in size, can it
Yeah,
diagnose that as
yeah,
well?
absolutely. And that's what we can do. We can take this. This is exactly what we do. We take this woman's breast and we find something that may look mostly normal, but may be suspicious. Instead of sending her for a biopsy, which is then may falsely diagnose with cancer, we put her on the anti-cancer protocol with the right nutrition, the right supplements, and then we repeat the test in 2 to 3 months. And then we see whatever was there, if it's getting better and going away, or it's stable and not growing, then you didn't need to send this person to go to a biopsy and get falsely diagnosed with cancer, and then led in unnecessarily to chemotherapy and radiation treatments they never needed. So remember, I'm saying 30% of women walking around with a diagnosis of breast cancer were better off if they never knew they had breast cancer, if they never treated it, never thought about it, because the anxiety itself, thinking you have breast cancer, is a risk factor for premature death. Just living with the fact thinking you have cancer takes years off your life, you know. So, but in any case, yes, we can then give people, and plus we have, not only do we have reassurance, and this test is more accurate, so we can tell if a thing is definitely benign, nothing to worry about, or this is definitely a cancer that has the features of cancer. We don't need to repeat it in 3 months. This is something that's really is aggressive, and we can see that it's aggressive. You need it to be removed, surgically removed, and have it taken care of, right? But in any case, so we have more accurate, much more accurate testing ability. And then we have the blood testing, which tests for 60 different types of cancers, right, from the blood at an earlier stage before it even could be seen by the human eye. And there's the Aurea tears test for breast cancer too. So we could, by multiple modalities, we can confirm this is not a cancerous tumor. There's nothing you need to be worried about. And you do not need to have a biopsy, do not need to get into the whole medical system. Because, it's a vicious cycle. Look at all these women going for false biopsies. And even when the biopsy comes back negative, look at the fear and the stress they had to go through. Because I'm saying here that a radiologist feels a 1 or 2% chance of it being cancer, they throw you into a biopsy. So even when you have, right? So we're talking here not when it's 50% chance, it's when it's 1 or 2% chance. So if it's 98% sure it's not cancer, you still got to get a biopsy, which then could come back as a cancer when it's not a cancer.
Well, why is this just for breast? Do they have this technology for other cancers as well, or is it just breast cancer?
Well, this technology, the QT imaging machine, is an imaging machine where women come in and their breasts, they're one breast at a time. They lie on their stomach, and the hole is cut out in this equipment, in a cushioned hole, which is filled with body temperature water. Their breast dangles in a water bath, and the ultrasound goes around that thing. So you do one breast at a time. Yes, you can do ultrasounds of the body, but not really to this degree of scientific and AI technology where they can read it with like with all these points to reconstruct the breast. It actually reconstructs the breast and the mass in the breast to see the exact shape and size and volumetric of it. It's just the technology it's very expensive, but it's just incredible what these inventions they have today.
So who goes for this test? So let's say, does somebody go to their general doctor first, and the doctor suspects they might have breast cancer, and before sending them to getting an MRI, they'll come to you, or do they just come to you first? Like,
No, women come to us because they don't want to have MRI. They don't want to have MRIs expose you to
I know, but do the doctor suggest an MRI and
No,
then they
there's no
go to you, or do they just
doctors.
come to you?
The woman is usually self-referring to us because doctors aren't concerned about their patients. They're concerned, most doctors are concerned about their own pocketbooks and their own not getting sued. So they have to do what's conventional. And what's conventional is get your mammogram every year, get your MRIs and your ultrasounds, and get falsely diagnosed. I'm not saying every doctor, but most doctors put people through the conventional treatment, and most radiologists put people through conventional treatment modalities because this is new and they don't want to investigate or utilize new technology.
That's a powerful statement, especially considering you're a doctor. Wow.
And these equipment are being sold overseas and being used in other countries where, in our country, because it's a $1 billion industry. Mammograms and breast screening is $1 million industry. Pink ribbons and go get your breast, prevent cancer by getting your mammograms. It's all.
So if somebody's not, if they're going self-insuring themselves or going to you, so is this not covered by insurance, or is it, or will a doctor send somebody
Absolutely not covered by insurance.
It's in your particular situation, or all over the country, this technology?
all over the country is not covered
Wow.
by insurance.
Wow. Wow. Is that because it's new or because other reasons?
Mostly because it's new, yeah. Mostly because it can't be covered by insurance because the insurance companies want to cover as little as they can. So they have to cover the standard of care. Anything that's not the standard of care, they're not going to cover, right? Now look at so I see people, right? So now I have patients that they want to lose weight, they want to eat healthy, but they can't hardly walk because they have hip problems, shoulder problems, back problems, foot problems. Their joints hurt them, right? Now, what's their option? Their option is take pain medications or go to orthopedists and get surgery, right, on their joints. So now we have the means to restore their joints back to normal again, to have them be able to be physically. So our lifestyle medicine protocols are enhanced because we can move people, we can put the joints back to be more youthful and non-painful state. So that combined with, so when a person comes to see me, for example, I'm looking at their feet. I'm looking at their structure and see if they're pronated to get them good alignment. Then I'm looking at their knee pain, their hip pain, their back pain, their shoulder pain, how are they functioning and how is their ability to perform exercise? What's their exercise tolerance? What's hurting them? And then we have equipment. We have three more pieces of equipment. One is called soft wave TRT. Now, soft wave is a type of shock wave. But shockwave, a lot of the shockwave are like garbage machines. They pulsate and shock you to break up calcifications in joints and to bring stem cells to the area. But the soft wave works 100 times better. It goes wider, it goes deeper, it breaks down calcifications in the joints, it removes scar tissue, and it signals that it reduces inflammation, and it sends stem cells into the area to heal. So it can help repair like a meniscal injury in the knee, a frozen shoulder to break it up, an arthritic pain, right? But not only, so we're able to give people treatments that take their pain away because they couldn't be, whether it's knee, hip, we don't have to have hip replacement or knee surgery or meniscal surgery. We can build back the meniscal cartilage. Now, not when it's bone against bone, of course, not when the arthritis is so advanced, but in the stages where they're starting to get pain and it's not completely destroyed, where they would be a candidate for knee replacement or hip replacement, we can still give them a functional joint back again. And then we combine that therapy with this another new technology imported from Italy, which is all over Europe. All the sports teams in Europe is using it. There's only like 6 of these machines in the United States, called lympha treatments, which can heal bone. So it can heal a fractured bone. It can help you if you have a wound that's not healing, it can heal the wound fast. But it can build back osteoporotic bone. It can help you repair bone that's been weakened with osteoporosis and re-increase the density of the bone. So with this treatment, because medical care, which involves drugs for women with osteoporosis, is really a dangerous treatment. These drugs increase risk of heart attack. They increase risk of mid-femur fracture. They increase osteonecrosis of the jaw. The doctors are prescribing drugs for osteoporosis that could have a black box warning for heart attack risk. I mean, we're talking here about using one risky drug to treat another problem. It's just medical care in some ways is just insanity. So now we have new technology that's safe and more effective. But not only that, the DEXA scans still expose people to radiation. So we have this new technology called Echolight REMS that also imported from Europe that can diagnose the bone fragility and the weakened bone mass more accurately than a DEXA scan can, without giving any radiation. So we can use it in children. We can tell if a child's going to have a stress fracture. Your daughter taking ballet lessons is maybe going to get a stress fracture if her bones aren't strong enough. We can check that out right now while she's 8 years old because we're looking at the bone without radiation, with just the sound waves. So in any case, and we could tell a person is with the same technology, we can take their body composition and tell you visceral fat, and your visceral fat percent is a better indicator of heart attack risk than a cardiac calcium score. So we really have new technology but not only can we identify the problem, now we can follow the problem over time to prove that we're healing it with our nutrition, exercises, and with lifestyle medicine, and using these new technologies that are harmless that actually help heal bone. And some of these people with osteoarthritic joints, by combining the salt wave machine with the lymph machine, we can get their joints feeling good again and get them back on having a good pain-free life. So some of the time, what I'm saying right here now is that this new technology, and most of this technology has not yet ready for prime time to be picked up by insurance carriers because it's not standard of care yet, which could take, and these things take 20 years. It takes, it took 20 years when coronary calcium scores were invented for it to be routinely used by doctors, for example. These technologies are now valuable, FDA approved, being used all over the world, superior to what they're used in the United States, but still not covered by people's insurance, So, but
Wow.
they're available. So we have a medical practice where people really can get help, whether it's reverse diabetes, reverse heart disease, fix their joint pain, screen them for problems, get reverse early stage cancers, diagnose early stage cancers. We can do things with higher degrees of technology for the people who are, and it works because now we have, now we can get people who really wouldn't necessarily start to adopt our approach because they're seeing that it's so holistic and complete and so effective for their
What about
future.
something like a colonoscope, where they recommend if you're over 50, you should get this every year, and so on. Do you have any technologies that help do whatever they're trying to figure out with something like
Yeah,
that?
that's available. Every doctor knows about that. That's called the Cologuard test. You're right. I don't recommend colonoscopies unless you're really a strong family history. You've had polyps in the past, or you've had colon cancer. I recommend. So first of all, don't forget we're recommending people change their diet anyway, because
Sure.
colon cancer is a dietary induced disease. But people at high risk, but for the people at normal risk or low risk, certainly Cologuards are sufficient because colonoscopies are not. Well, you have to compare the risk benefit ratio. Colonoscopies, they can perforate you. It can cause a death. They can perforate you and cause an infectious
What's
bowel.
Cologuard?
Oh, and by colonoscopies can cause infections in your bowel too. Can be quite serious. Can be.
Sure.
Cologuard is a test of your stool. It tests your stool and it tests the DNA of the cells coming through that's sloughed off on the colon lining into the stool, and it can test if you have colon cancer cells. Like we used to have stool guaiacs or tests were very highly sensitive for blood in the stool. This combines blood in the stool with DNA testing to be very, very
But it's
accurate.
not. This isn't common amongst medical practices, is it?
Yes, it is. A
It
lot of
is.
doctors. Yes, the Cologuard test is very.
But would they recommend that before getting a colonoscope? No, they wouldn't, right?
Yeah, most doctors recommend colonoscopies because they want to do what's more standard in the industry, and also because they make more money. And of course, it's the biggest moneymaker for a
So can a
gastroenterologist.
person say, if a doctor recommended that, can a person say, I'd rather do the Cologuard test first?
Sure. Yeah, or do the Cologuard test. So obviously, we're encouraging people to live healthier, and then avoid invasive medical procedures that involve radiation or chances of risk from the procedure or the screening test causing a problem itself. We don't want to create disease. And a lot of times, what I'm saying here, mammograms, CT scans, colonoscopies, these things, cardiac CTs, these PET scans, these things doctors do to investigate disease, cause disease and hurt your health. We want to do things that are more, I'm taking it back to a much more conservative, using only modalities that don't hurt people, right? Which means that, um, people have a choice, right? People can have a choice.